acquisition by General Manager Dave Dombrowski of the Montreal Expos is left-hander Zane Smith from the Atlanta Braves. He's lost 12 this season, but has won as many as 15 in the past. The price, 3 prospects, the best of which Sergio Valdez has reported to the Atlanta Braves. Valdez and Smith have swapped unis, and their teams meet tonight in Atlanta on TSN. From Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, TSN presents National League Baseball. Tonight, the Atlanta Braves play host to the Montreal Expos. Tonight's game is brought to you by Labatt's Blue, the clean, true taste of Canada. And by SO retailers and agents across Canada going that extra mile. Hi again, everyone. I'm Jim Houston with Ken Singleton, while dealing Dave Dombrowski, the GM of the Expos, has done it again. 13 deals in just less than a year. The latest acquisition is a left-hander who's been a starter in Atlanta, but Zane Smith will go out to the bullpen. What did you think of the 3-for-1 deal?
Well, personally, from the Expos standpoint, you got to like the trade. Zane Smith's able to start in a pinch if they need him. Right now, he's going to work out of the bullpen. That gives the Expos 3 left-handers out of the bullpen while they're working their way to Tim Burke to close out the ball game. That could make it tough on opposing managers.
What about the price, Ken? In the last 2 deals, Dave Dombrowski has given up 6 prospects from the Expos organization. Is that too much?
Well, the Expos organization has been rated #1 in all of baseball, so you have to figure there are some other prospects down in the minor leagues who might be able to help out in the future. But from Dave Dombrowski's standpoint, you got to feel they're going for it this year. They wanted somebody to help out in the bullpen. They immediately go back to a 10-man pitching staff.
Last time he made a deal, it was for a left-hander. His name is Mark Langston, and Mark Langston starts tonight at Atlanta against the Braves. He's up against a left-hander named Tom Glavine, and another left-hander, Zane Smith, is the topic of conversation. When we come back in just a moment, this is Expos Baseball on TSN.
Welcome back to Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. With me is the manager of the Atlanta Braves, Russ Nixon, and Russ, the Expos and the Braves making that trade yesterday. Zane Smith going to Montreal, and Sergio Valdez, one of the prospects that comes over to the Braves. What were you thinking from the Braves end of the deal?
Well, I think, you know, that we've got three players that should be able to help us. After all, you know, we're in an area now we need some players, and we got you know, a #1 pick and a #2 pick, and we got Valdez, and we felt very good about the trade.
Now, where does Valdez fit in your scheme of things?
Well, right now he's going to be middle to long relief right here at the big league level. Of course, we got you know, Jose Alvarez on the disabled list, and of course, when Jose comes off, we'll have to make a decision on what to do with Sergio. But right now he fits in our plans right here as the short, you know, middle to long man.
Well, the strength of the Braves seems to be their young pitching staff. Tommy Glavine, Marty Claret, all these type of pitchers really doing well. Derek Lilliquist. Does it seem now that you will all be after position players in the future?
Well, we certainly need some position players, and as everybody needs right now, some hitters. But certainly we look in that area, you know, quite frequently, and because we have so many young pitchers and fine arms, that those are the people that we're, you know, that we may have to give up. Certainly, that it's people that other organizations are looking for.
Well, good luck, Russ, in the future for the rest of the season.
Well, thank you, Kenny.
And now here's Jim with Buck Rogers.
Buck, you've made a move to pick up a left-handed veteran for your bullpen. How will you use Zane Smith?
Well, we're going to start out using him out of the bullpen in a middle relief type situation so he can get acclimated between starting and relief. And once he gets that rhetoric taken care of, then we're going to move him farther down into the game towards a setup or a closing situation with some teams that Burke has trouble with, mainly Pittsburgh, teams like that.
Now you're back to a 5-man bullpen with 3 left-handers. What does that do for you late in the game in terms of strategy?
Well, it just seems to me like with 4 of our 5 starters being right-handed, the obvious thing would be to follow that right-hander with a left-hander. So now that we've got 3 out there, we can make that move much more readily and hopefully more effectively. I'm going to bring the left-hander in to face the left-hander. So we've got 3 of them out there. We've got Andy McGaffigan and Burke on the right side. So we feel we got a lot more balance out there right now.
Seems like an insurance policy as well. If somebody in your starting rotation had to come out of it, Zane Smith has been a starter.
Well, he has been. He's been a good starter, and he's about eight months away from elbow operation, and we feel he's getting stronger and stronger. And as the season progresses, and especially next year, I think that he'll be mentioned very prominently as a starter. We didn't make this trade in the long term strictly for him to be a relief guy, but this year we feel that he's going to really help us out of the bullpen.
All right, thank you, Buck. Let's go back to Ken.
Jim, I'm with the newest of the Expos, Zane Smith. And Zane, I guess we got to get your feelings about this deal. Was it a surprise, first of all?
Well, it was a surprise just due to the fact that I didn't think that Montreal was in the picture as far as people wanting me to come over here. So I'm very happy about the deal.
Now, what about coming to the Expos and your role with the Montreal Ball Club? Have you talked it over with Buck Rogers?
Yes, I think right now I'm going to be long relief. Basically, I'm going to have to get really back into the kind of relief role part of thinking as far as a pitcher goes. So, you know, it's going to take a while, and I think they're going to, right now, he's going to take his time with me.
What about your thoughts on leaving the Braves? You've been with them throughout your career.
Well, it's, you know, I've got mixed feelings. Of course, I've got a lot of friends over there, and I'm going to miss them. But in the other respect, you know, I'm on a first-place club and kind of in a pennant chase, so it's really a new experience for me.
Are you familiar with any of the players on the Expos, other than the fact of being an opponent over the years? You've trained in the same town as Montreal has in West Palm.
Yeah, well, you know, we train with them in West Palm, but I've played with a few of the guys on winter ball teams, and, you know, basically just really playing against them. So I feel that I know a lot of the guys personally anyway, so it's really not that big of a, as far as me not knowing anybody, I guess. So it's really a little better situation.
I know you're looking forward to it.
I'm real happy to be here, and hopefully I can do what you guys got me to do.
Well, Zane Smith should be happy. He just picked up 11.5 games in the National League standings. His new team, the Montreal Expos, is set to face the Atlanta Braves, and will return to a rainy night in Georgia in just a moment. Three-game series between the Atlanta Braves and the Montreal Expos. Jerry Lane is behind home plate tonight. Jerry Davis at first, Eric Gregg at second, and Jim Quick will work at third. It has been raining most of the day through the night, and early this morning it poured in the Atlanta area, and it didn't look this morning like there would be any baseball played at Fulton County Stadium. It cleared off about noon, was clear for most of the afternoon, and then there was a heavy downpour right around 6 o'clock. But the sky's a little lighter now, and I think that we may have the odd delay. We may have steady rain through this game, but the Expos and the Braves are going to get this three-game series started as the Braves have now taken to the field. The Montreal Expos have been in first place for 6 days now. They had a 5-2 week last week with 3 wins over the Mets and a split of a 4-game series with the Houston Astros.
Well, the Expos doing quite well of late, coming up to the All-Star break, trying to remain in first place until they get to that milestone in the season. All-Stars, including manager Buck Rogers, can go out to Anaheim, California, and kind of strut their stuff a bit around Anaheim Stadium in first place. We take a look at the Western Division standings.
And the Atlanta Braves at 14.5 games back of the San Francisco Giants. I suppose from a positive point of view, the Braves are better off than they were last year at this time, when they were 18.5 games out of first place. Whether you're watching in color or black and white, the sky looks pretty much the same. It's dark and threatening. And tomorrow, it's supposed to be the same. So they're hoping to play tonight and tomorrow and play around the thunder showers that are predicted. The starter tonight for the Atlanta Braves, Tom Glavine, who's much better this year than he was last.
Last year, a 17-game loser tied him with Bert Blyleven for the most losses in the big leagues. This year, he has turned it around. 8-4, all the pitches, fastball, curve, now throws a slider and a changeup, and very determined young man. And you know, there has been some talk of Mr. Glavine or John Smoltz, one of these two young men representing the Braves in the All-Star game.
Buck Mark Rogers' Montreal Expos lineup looks like this tonight. Still without Tim Raines. He is sitting out yet another night with that injured right leg. With Raines out, Hubie Brooks is in the cleanup spot. Rex Hudler gets to play in Raines' left field position. Damaso Garcia starts with a left-handed pitcher on the mound. The Expos last week hit .305 as a team against the Mets and Houston. Overall, they're hitting .250, now up to 4th in the National League, their team average.
Defensively for the Atlanta Braves, Gerald Perry at first base. Jeff Treadway will be at second. Andres Thomas having a pretty good year at shortstop. Jeff Blauser started the year as a second baseman. Now he's a third baseman. Lonnie Smith, probably the best offensive Brave of the year. Dale Murphy in center. Geronimo Baroja in right field. Jody Davis catching. And Tommy Glavine on the mound.
And there is Russ Nixon on the right of the screen, the manager of the Atlanta Braves. On some days, that's not an enviable position to have. He took over last season from Chuck Tanner, who was fired. He has taken over his other managerial position in a team that was slumping, the Cincinnati Reds. When he managed there, he took over from John McNamara. It's not like he's taken over teams that are on top, but it's not often teams that are on top change managers. Tom Glavine has thrown the first pitch to Otis Nixon, the switch hitting center fielder tonight.
Otis Nixon, quite a few relatives in town. 15 to 20 passes he left to tonight's game, and he said this is the easy game. Tomorrow night the rest of his relatives come down from Evergreen, North Carolina.
Two and one, the count to Otis Nixon, who's played well against the Braves in the 6 games so far. He's 8 for 23. 348 against Atlanta. Even though the Expos and the Braves have split, they're 3-3 in the 6 games they played this season. Each team swept the other at home. 3-1 pitch fouled away, and the count is full to Otis Nixon. Glavine is 23 years old, and you'll hear that a lot when talking about Atlanta starters. 4 of the 5 are 23 or under. Marty Clary into the starting rotation is the old grizzled veteran at 27, and he's a 27-year-old rookie. First man up for the Expos, Otis Nixon, gets things started with a single straight up the middle on a full count pitch from Glavine.
Well, when Otis got that base hit in the center field, about 15 or 20 people stood up on their feet and just applauded away. I guess those are all his passes sitting in one section.
And half the people that are in the ballpark tonight.
3-2 pitch. Glavine coming in with right down the middle, not wanting to walk Otis Nixon, and Otis responds in kind right back through the middle for the base hit.
So Rex Hudler follows Otis Nixon to the plate. Hudler batting in the number 2 spot and playing in left field, a right-handed batter with a left-handed pitcher on the mound tonight. Otis is getting a little more, Rex is getting a little more playing time behind Otis now that Tim Raines has been hurt and trying to take advantage of it. And has done a pretty good job with an average over 300 in a limited number of at-bats.
Right away, young Mr. Glavine is tested with one of the best base stealers in the league on first base. Otis Nixon, and Rex Hudler's been swinging a hot bat. He's hitting over 300 at 313. So good combination for the Expos to lead off the game.
And Glavine checks in with Otis Nixon over at first. Rex Hudler in his last 41 at-bats is moving right along at a 341 clip. The Expos hitting all round has picked up in the last couple of weeks. Of course, aided considerably yesterday with a 19-hit attack against the Houston Astros, 13 runs. And isn't it interesting that of the 19 hits yesterday, 14 of them are on the bench today. The people who got 14 of the hits are on the bench. Off and running is Nixon, and he steals easily against Jody Davis, who had trouble getting the ball out of his glove and was very late in getting the throw down. Number 24 for Otis Nixon.
Otis finally gets a reading on young Mr. Glavine. Kind of a breaking ball low and inside. Double clutch by Jody Davis behind the plate, and there's no chance to get the speedy Otis Nixon. And there is no guarantee Otis is going to stay at second base.
Counts 1-1 on Hudler. Big lead for Otis Nixon. Now he's getting back. But doesn't that say a lot about the Expos platoon? That Foley, Aldretti, Fitzgerald, Martinez, and Bryn Smith, between them, had 14 hits yesterday, and they're all on the bench today.
The most unlikely, of course, Bryn Smith. He drove in 4 runs.
Missed a sign and drove in 3. The Glavine pitch popped up into right field. Baroja underneath it makes the catch and then runs a couple of steps and throws the ball in, and Otis Nixon holds up at second. 1 away.
Otis had no intention of going to third on Baroja. A pretty good outfielder with a strong arm. You can see that his wrist is taped up. I think that's more of a wrist problem than a hand problem, but he had problems getting the ball out of his glove. Of course, Otis didn't know that, and he just made him throw the ball in.
One would expect with a name like Geronimo that he'd be able to throw the ball and hit the ball away.
He's got a gun of an arm.
Andres Galarraga is at the plate. 1 away and a runner in scoring position. Galarraga is 0 for his last 8. Didn't get in on the 19-hit attack yesterday against the Astros. 257 for his last 8 games. A hard cut. And a strike. 0-1.
That was just a matter of a challenge by Tom Glavine. The Expos, during the rain delay, didn't get a chance to take batting practice.
Braves took batting practice, then there was a downpour and they had to cover the field. Glavine throws it back. Otis Nixon slipped, it appeared, but still got back into second.
You know, sometimes missing batting practice during the course of a long season is not a bad thing. Sometimes you have a tendency to take your best swings in batting practice, and during the course of a long season, the everyday players do get tired. But tonight, the Expos are going to take their first cuts of the evening at young Mr. Glavine.
Otis Nixon is on his way to third. Davis throw in time. Nixon's out. He missed him at second, but he got him at third.
Well, this particular time, Jody Davis got a fastball, and that helped him in his attempt to get Otis Nixon at third. Now remember, on an artificial surface, I think base runners of the type of Otis Nixon get better jumps, and it's spongier and they can run faster. A step or two can mean all the difference. And here on the natural surface of Fulton County Stadium, he is cut down at third base.
Big lead. Maybe spins his wheels a little bit, taking off. And a good tag by Blauser. So the Expos might have run themselves right out of an opportunity to score against the Braves in the first. A stolen base, then caught stealing, 2 away, and Galarraga at the plate with the count 2-2.
Nixon trying to get the third base with 1 out so the Expos could score on a possible sacrifice fly.
Caught stealing for the 7th time this season. The count is full, 3-2 with 2 away. Glavine to Galarraga, and he swings and misses, strike 3. And Glavine, after giving up a leadoff single to Otis Nixon, went right at Rex Hudler and Andres Galarraga, and with some help from Jody Davis, he's out of the first. It's a low fastball, and Galarraga is gone. The Braves are coming to the plate against Mark Langston in the bottom of the first. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Montreal Expos is 28-year-old left-hander Mark Langston.
Langston, fastball, curve, slider, and a change, and when he has all those pitches working very well, he is just about unhittable. In his last couple of starts, he hasn't had command of all 4 pitches. He still won a game against the New York Mets, but gave up 12 hits. Said his slider wasn't working particularly well, but he's that type of pitcher. He can go to something else.
He has never faced the Atlanta Braves in regular league or in exhibition play, so he gets a look at them for the first time tonight. This is Russ Nixon's Atlanta Brave lineup, 14 games under 500. Atlanta has some pretty good pitching, but not much punch. The Braves are 11th in average at 237 as a team, 11th in runs scored, 12th in stolen bases, and last 12th in on-base percentage. Dale Murphy in the middle of this lineup, hitting just .247 with a mere 6 home runs. And you'll note that Oddibe McDowell, picked up from Cleveland in a deal yesterday, is not in the lineup because the left-hander's on the mound.
Around the field for the Expos this rainy evening in Atlanta. Andres Galarraga at first, Damaso Garcia at second, Spike Owen at short, Tim Wallach at third, Rex Hudler in at left field, Otis Nixon, Ubi Brooks, Nelson Sanavenia, and the fine fielding Mark Langston on the mound.
The manager of the Expos, Buck Rogers, sitting on top of the National League East, on his way to the All-Star game next week as a coach for Tommy Lasorda's National League team, and it's a home game for Buck Rogers, whose house is 7 miles from the Big A, Anaheim Stadium. Jeff Blauser is the leadoff man for the Atlanta Braves against Langston. Popped up foul. Over to have a look is Galarraga, and it's off the roof of the dugout. 25 points for getting into one-hopper.
This might be one of the last places you expect to see a Blue Jays fan, but
wrong turn in Albuquerque.
Don't see too many Blue Jays this far south, do you?
But there's a few Blue Jays starting to show up around here in the form of baseball players like Baroja, like Mark Eichhorn, and of course the GM, Bobby Cox. Blauser hits a line drive right into the glove of the perfectly positioned Spike Owen.
Spike had to catch that one in more or less self-defense. Headed for that M on his chest.
So the former teammates from Seattle, Langston and Owen, team up for the first out in the bottom of the first. The only man in the Atlanta lineup tonight amongst the starters that's faced Mark Langston is Lonnie Smith. He's at the plate now.
Lonnie Smith, one of the few Braves that's having an outstanding season. Missed 20 games with a severely sprained ankle. It's not really healed 100%, but they needed him back in the lineup with those type of numbers.
Those are all-star-like numbers. He doesn't appear amongst the leaders in batting. If you've noticed in the paper that his name with that average is not in amongst them, he doesn't quite have enough at-bats because of the injury.
He's been to the plate 211 official at-bats, and with 71 hits, that works out to 336. His on-base percentage is the best in the National League.
Which begs the question, Ken, why isn't he leading off?
That is a good question.
Jeff Blauser, who led off and lined out, has an on-base percentage of 29% as opposed to Lonnie Smith's 445.
Well, Lonnie Smith is leading the Braves, even though he missed 20 ball games in home runs with 11. He's also up there in the league being hit by pitch. He's been hit 7 times, second only to Andres Galarraga, primarily because Lonnie Smith stands right up on top of the plate.
So maybe then Russ Nixon could use him at cleanup. He could use him at leadoff, so he's found a spot in the middle at the number 2 spot. Another foul ball. There may be a play here. Galarraga is moving back, but he couldn't get to the ball.
I think there's very soft footing down the line, and the big cat didn't really turn it on the way he's used to. I think his players are going to have to be very careful this evening not to pull muscles or stretch anything. It's treacherous around the warning track.
Don't forget that while the infield is covered, the outfield and the warning tracks are not, and it has rained a lot in the past 24 hours. Fouled away, and the full count remains with 1 away, bottom of the first. Atlanta Braves and the Montreal Expos. The last time the Expos were here, they were soundly thrashed 3 times in a row as the Braves extended a winning streak to 7 games. But Ken, it was right after losing 3 in a row to the Braves that the Expos had a clubhouse meeting and seemed to get it together in Houston. Strike called, and Smith is gone. Strikeout number 1 for Mark Langston, and 2 away.
Perfect setup for a pitch over the inside corner. A lot of pitches away in this particular bat until he throws the closer. Right there to Sanavenia's glove, and he might have bought it back over the inside corner. They get the call from home plate umpire Jerry Lane.
2 away then for Mark Langston as he faces Andres Thomas swinging away at the first pitch. A fly ball to right, and Hubie Brooks makes the catch. 3 up, 3 down for Langston and the Expos against the Atlanta Braves in the bottom of the first inning. So there's no score after a full inning at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, and the rain is holding up. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Long, tough season last year for Tom Glavine when he lost 17 games for the Braves, but according to his pitching coach, Bruce Del Canton, he's really turned it around. He's much better in '89.
Exactly right. He had a really tough beginning of the year, and about the middle of the season, we kind of gave him another pitch. He had a little problem getting his curveball over, so we gave him we call it a cut fastball, but what it is really a slider. And from that time on, he started getting everything going, and he finished strong for us. And he carried over in spring training. He had a great spring, and they carried over into the season also. Tommy pitches with a lot of confidence, and he relies mostly on a fastball and a straight change, and his breaking ball is his best breaking ball is probably the slider now. But I think his biggest asset, he's not afraid of any hitter that comes to the plate, and he'll go after the hitters. If you're going to beat Tommy Glavine, you're going to have to hit the ball off of him. He stays in the strike zone, and that's a good plus for him.
Stays in the strike zone, and he stays in the game. He's completed 5 of his 15 starts this season with 3 shutouts. 8-4. Tom Glavine's having a fine season. 4 above 500 on a team that's 1,400. And he's facing Hubie Brooks.
Of course, we all know the Braves lost the second most games in all of baseball last year. 106 ball games the Braves lost.
Who lost the most, Ken?
Well, we all know the Orioles did too, but that goes to show you how quickly things can turn around, and that's what they're hoping for here in Atlanta.
Jeff Blauser made the play on Brooks, 1 away.
Maybe it was kind of appropriate on opening day. The movie on TBS following the Braves opening day broadcast this year.
What was it?
It's To Hell and Back.
Colorized, no doubt.
Oh, I'm certain.
Tim Wallach is the batter now for the Montreal Expos. Wallach is 13 for his last 34. A 382 clip as he's pulled his average up to 273. His homer yesterday against the Astros was his 4th of the year and his first since the 25th of May. Instead of homers, he's been a doubles hitter. Wallach, if you take his projections at this the halfway mark of the season, take his statistics and project them over a full season, he'd have a 273 average with just 8 home runs, but 46 doubles, 74 RBIs. Now we'd like to have a few more RBIs, maybe a few more home runs, but the double total would be at the top of the league, obviously.
We figure with his average in the 270 along with Hubie Brooks, both of those cornerstones of the Expos offense, you have to have a feeling these guys could have better and stronger second halves. Really help the offensive production for the Expos, along with Andres Galarraga. So the Expos are in first place, and you figure 3 of their top 4 hitters are not producing at their clip that they're accustomed to.
Uh-oh. There's another thing about the Atlanta Braves. Gerald Perry, who had such a fine season last year, having a tough one this year, and is hearing it from the few fans here after just blowing this.
He's had a tough last few weeks. Ground ball looks pretty routine on across the diamond, but here comes the problem.
Slippery.
It's not raining at the moment. That ball couldn't have caught too many raindrops across the diamond. That goes as an error.
The 8th of the season for Gerald Perry. So the Expos have a man aboard at first for Damo Garcia, the second baseman, and a former member of the Atlanta Braves. Although his time with the Braves was forgettable, spent most of his time injured when he was in the Atlanta organization. Slapped into right field. Baroja comes up with the ball. Wallach holds up a second. The Expos are at first and second with 1 away.
pinch hitting role. The Expos really rolled out the hitting attack. He's the type of hitter is capable of hitting the ball just about anywhere, and he uses the big hole between first and second. Though Wallach had to stop at second base. Baroa got it back in quickly.
Well, that's 2 hits now off Tom Glavine. And the Expos are trying to score for the first time. First and second with 1 away, and Nelson Santavania is at the plate. Strike 1, 0-1. Nelson's had a fine season in 6 games against the Braves. .412 is his average, 7 for 17. He hasn't played in all 6 of the games. But he's hit well against Atlanta pitching. And a mind to go. There'll be an appeal. No, says Jerry Davis at first.
You make the call at home. Expos caught a break. That was a strike.
And so the count is 1-1.
I spoke about Gerald Perry's error. Might have set up an inning here for the Expos. He's had a tough few weeks.
Ooh, that's putting it mildly.
He had a play where to throw across the diamond. Santavania takes another ball. And while Perry decided to argue with the first base umpire, the runner at second base, Lenny Harris of the Braves, came all the way in to score while Perry was arguing.
Ooh.
Another play a little bit later. Perry's on first base, a line drive to left field. He thought there were 2 outs. He scored all the way from first. Unfortunately, there was only 1 out at the time, and he was doubled off.
Runners are going into the glove of Glavine. He gets 1 and 2. What a tough double play to turn. But it was turned nicely by Jeff Treadway, who was almost wiped out entirely. And with Nelson Santavania on the base paths, he still had time, although almost knocked down, to turn the double play.
Tough as you can get, but you got to remember, Damo Garcia, completely legal, coming into second base as long as he's on the bag. Treadway sheds him and throws to first base for the double play.
1-4-3, a double play that sets Tom Glavine free, and he gets out of what could have been a nasty little jam in the second. Still no score. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Double play again, and keep in mind the runners are going when this is started.
More or less a hit and run by the Expos, and Glavine still has time to get the ball at second base and makes a good throw. That's a key part to this play. Treadway. It's like Barishnikov.
Smooth as can be.
1, he doesn't get hooked up, maintains his balance, and now throws on to first base.
Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, has a capacity of 52,007, but hasn't seen that many people in the stands for quite some time. This year, the attendance is 471,000 plus, or an average of 13,000 a game, and there's not 13,000 here tonight, even though this is a long holiday weekend.
We got to figure that the weather had something to do with it. There is not a dome stadium here in Atlanta, though they could use one for the same reason they have one in Houston. Very hot and muggy at times.
Usually start the games either at 5:30 or 7:30 here. It's just about the time. It's been hot and humid all day, and it builds to a thunderstorm about the time the game starts and cools things off a bit just before the game gets underway. Dale Murphy leading off. The cleanup spot, bottom of the second for the Braves. Murphy struggling along, not hitting for average, not hitting many home runs. The sky doesn't look as threatening as it did half an hour ago, but that could change. 3-0, Langston to Murphy. Ground ball for Spike Owen. Make sure he's got it and make sure he gets it. Murphy's gone 1 away.
A little unusual. Murphy swinging 3-0, leading off an inning. Trying to get something going for the Braves, and trying to get something going for Dale Murphy. Just 6 home runs, 38 RBIs. and hitting .247. Subject of trade rumors at the beginning of the year, those rumors have sort of died down.
Have gone down with his statistics, and you wonder if the Braves indeed would like to deal him. They haven't just waited too long. Here's 24-year-old Geronimo Baroja from the Dominican Republic, drafted from the Toronto Blue Jays in December. Has shown some power in the past at Double-A in 1987. He hit 36 home runs. At the Triple-A level when he moved up, he didn't hit as many. Just 8 home runs last year, but he did lead Syracuse with 64 runs batted in.
He was on the International League All-Star team a year ago, so he did show promise, and the Braves have an outfielder. They like the platoon in right field with Tommy Gregg, but now that Odom McDowell is here, I wonder who's going to get the playing time.
Well, with Odom McDowell here, now they have the option of moving Dale Murphy back into right field on a full-time basis. McDowell could patrol center field. Baroja is gone. Strikeout number 2 for Langston.
Mark Langston's nasty slider appears to be working early in the ball game.
Mean.
That'll have you fanning at the breeze, and we need it.
2 away for Gerald Perry. Swinging at the first pitch, pops it up into foul territory, a fly ball down the left field line, and over the fence goes Rex Hudler to visit with the boys in the bullpen, and he comes back without the ball.
Well, that's the type of play you get from Rex Hudler. All-out action. Not afraid to soil his uniform.
A 1.5 gainer with the pike. There's the first hit for the Atlanta Braves. Gerald Perry gets it just out of the reach of Spike Owen. Tried to backhand the ball at short.
Gerald Perry, one of the top hitters in the National League a year ago, finished at an even 300 this year at 241. This should help his average a little bit, just out of the reach of Spike Owen. Kind of slow going all over the field tonight.
This is a tough infield to play on at the best of times, isn't it?
And really, when you put the tarp down and pull it up a few times, it makes it even tougher.
How so?
Well, it kind of makes it rough. They don't have time to completely drag the field before the game. They were more or less worried about the tarp and the rain itself, and a few extra hops in the infield you might not have expected.
The catcher, Jody Davis. 2 away, runner on first base. Langston missed with an off-speed pitch. Perry on first.
Perry is a threat. He has 10 stolen bases this year.
The Braves have the fewest steals in the league. 41. They've been caught 31 times. Successful only 56% of the time.
They were the worst in the league last year at 58%.
Stay put, guys. The Expos have thrown out 22% of those trying to steal, and in the last 10 games, they've thrown out 6 of 9 and picked off 3. A combination of Santavania and Fitzgerald. Two balls and a strike to Jody Davis, and Perry stays put on first.
We mentioned the Braves not getting much in the way of offensive production. Jody Davis, more was expected from him. Former Cub, had some pretty good years for the Cub. He's at Wrigley Field. He's now playing closer to home here in Atlanta. Just struggling at 164.
Strike called 2-2. Well, no, his average is low, but in defense of Jody Davis, you can't underestimate the importance of a good receiver, especially with a young pitching staff like the Braves have. And He's been pretty important, don't you think, to Smoltz and Glavine in particular?
He and Bruce Benedict, a combination of veteran catchers, but neither one of them have their batting averages over 190.
That hurts. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Davis swings and misses. There's strikeout number 3 for Mark Langston, and he strands Gerald Perry at first base.
Appears to be that slider again, and that can be a very rough pitch. Nice play by Sanavania to come up with it in the dirt, and Jody Davis is gone.
Through 2, the left-handers, Glavine and Langston, are locked in a scoreless battle at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Expos Baseball on TSN. I'm Jim Houston with Ken Singleton. The Expos with a new pitcher on their staff today. Marty Peavy, the third catcher that was with the Expos, has been sent back to AAA Indianapolis to make room for the 10th man on the pitching staff, Zane Smith. You've heard us talk about the prospects that the Expos gave up, and we mentioned Sergio Valdez, but didn't mention the others. Nate Minchie is a pitcher who will report to the Braves minor league system. He was pitching at A-ball for the Expos, so it's really hard to tell just how good he will be. Kevin Dean is an outfielder that the Braves get. Now, he was rated as one of the best outfield prospects in the Expos system last year, but has struggled at AAA this year. And one of the reasons, or two of the reasons, he's expendable. One is Canadian outfielder Larry Walker. It appears he's fully recovered from his knee injury. He's leading the American Association in stolen bases. He's a fine outfielder, has a gun for an arm, and he has passed Kevin Dean as a prospect. And so has Marquise Grissom, a young man who's moving up in the Expos system.
From the Braves standpoint, they figure if Kevin Dean was good enough for the Expos to draft number 1, good enough to trade for, and he has some ability. So that's what the Braves are looking for his ability to come forth in the future.
Switch hitting Spike Owen, batting right-handed against the left-handed pitching Tom Glavine, and the count is 0-2 as Glavine's out front early. So Sergio Valdez is a pretty good prospect, a very good one. There's no doubt about it that the Braves like him, and the Expos did as well. But the Expos feel that Mark Gardner is still an extremely good prospect at AAA. In fact, he's 8-1 with an earned run average of 2.24, and he's struck out 84 batters in 84 innings. And they have some other good pitching prospects.
Well, Gardner was up briefly with the Expos, but they sent him back down so he could pitch consistently in a regular rotation. There was no way he was going to pitch that way here in Montreal, at least this year.
So if you're an Expo fan and worried about the future and what the Expos have given up, it seems they've thought about it long and hard before making these deals, and even though they've given up a lot of prospects, they still seem to have quite a few. So they're dealing from strength and dealing from perhaps the best farm system in baseball.
Scouting director Gary Hughes and minor league personnel director Dan Duquette have done a fine job for the Expos over the last few years. They've gotten some top prospects, and the Expos minor league teams all seem to be winners year in and year out. And took that recommendation from Baseball America publication as the #1 organization in baseball.
Count on Spike Owen is 2-2. The leadoff man, top of the third in a scoreless game from Atlanta. The Braves and the Expos. Ball 3, the count is full.
Spike Owen has gone from 0-2, and he's run the count full, and that's something Spike's been able to do all year long. Very patient at the plate, not swinging too many bad pitches. See if it pays off. Might be able to work his way on base. We'll have to wait.
He's going to get another chance. You know, talking about the minor league system, are you surprised that in all of the people that have been given up, there hasn't been, it seems, a team clamoring to try and get Jeff Houston? He's one of the best prospects in the system. He's tearing up the American Association.
Well, we don't know if his name has been mentioned.
Well, you hear some of the other names, and you don't hear his. And maybe it has come up.
And maybe it has come up, but it's been taken off the table in a hurry by the Expos.
But everybody wants pitching. Jeff Houston, who was with the Expos briefly last season, is now hitting .318. He's scored 59 runs. He's stolen 23 bases. That's second in the American Association to Larry Walker. And he's driven in 34 runs. All this from a middle infielder. 3-2 pitch. Glavine fields his position well, throws out Spike Owen, and wins the battle after 10 pitches.
Earlier in the season, Tommy Glavine, on a fielding play at first base, sprained his ankle in a game at Wrigley Field against the Cubs. He missed his start or two, and had a few problems pitching, and is now just about fully recovered, as you saw from that play.
So it's pitcher to pitcher now. Mark Langston's at the plate. 5 for 22. Fine average for a pitcher coming over from the American League.
Batting right-handed against the left-handed slants of Tommy Glavine. Langston has been up there left-handed a time or two. Wants to protect that left arm, very valuable left arm.
The base hit, the 6th of the season for Mark Langston. Boy, the pitchers on the Expos are tearing up the league. There's Bryn Smith, who was packing the hot bat yesterday, and Langston, who has the hit today.
Help yourself out.
Absolutely. These are two good athletes pitching tonight. Both left-handers that field their position well.
We were talking to Glavine before the game, and he had been drafted in the 4th round by the Los Angeles Kings. And
1984, same year that he was drafted by the Braves.
he had a decision to make. He chose baseball, but you know, at that time, Wayne Gretzky was still in Edmonton. Now he's in Los Angeles. What do you think?
He's still in Los Angeles. Oh, no. An error to the shortstop, Thomas.
The argument is whether Thomas had the ball long enough to get the force at second base. Now, I do not believe there was a clean transfer from glove to hand while he was on the bag in order for him to get the force at second base of Mark Langston. Eric Gregg says, well, I don't want to hear this, Russ. Here it is again. Take a look. Has the ball in his glove, but he didn't have it cleanly in his glove at all. As you saw, the snow cone effect, and Langston getting ready to slide in the second. It's very clear that he didn't have control of this ball at all.
And even if he did, oh, he was on the bag.
He was on the bag, but
he
still.
didn't have the ball.
Uh-oh. Thomas making a little run at Eric Gregg, and he was held back by Jeff Treadway.
And he'd better be careful. Eric Gregg just stays where he is and listens to it. Now he turns away. That's the second error committed by the Braves, who seem to be trying to self-destruct.
So Otis Nixon reaches on a fielder's choice, and the error is involved with Mark Langston at second base, not getting that out at second, and it's charged to the shortstop, Andres Thomas.
Hudler bunts foul. One away here, top of the 3rd. The Expos left a man in the 2nd. They got a rally started, tried to get a rally started on an error. Double play ball from Glavine solved that problem. And that's what he needs again here. Langston at second, Nixon at first, and Hudler 0-1. Langston was back easily. Oh, you're talking about Glavine and his hockey exploits. We asked him before the game if, yeah, you could have been playing on a line with Gretzky instead of pitching for the Braves. And all he said was, yeah, that's what everybody's telling me.
Just picking up points. The plus-minus goes up and up and up.
Well, he's +4 as a pitcher with the Braves at 8-4, and he's doing a fine job.
Well, that's not easy to do when your team is 14 games under 500. It means you've been pitching some pretty good baseball.
Starters are pretty good here. Where they run into a problem is that they don't have a deep bullpen at all. Just 15 saves, 13 of them from Joe Baber. Hudler's not happy, but he's gone. 2 away.
out number 2 for Glavine, much the way Mark Langston got one earlier in the game. Fastball over the inside corner.
Bruce Del Canton said it. If you're going to beat Tom Glavine, you're going to have to hit it. Rex Hudler laid off and has gone on strikes. 2 away, first and second, and Andres Galarraga's at the plate. He struck out in the first inning. Pitch very similar to the one that Glavine just threw to strike out Rex Hudler. Galarraga at the halfway point, double his statistics. He'd have 94 RBIs at the end of the season, 2 more than last year, 24 home runs. That'd be down from last year's 29. Hits the ball hard on the ground. Blauser runs over to third and forces out Mark Langston, and that does it for the Montreal Expos in the third. For the second consecutive inning, Glavine has given some problems because defensively his team has committed an error, but he's been able to induce the ground ball to get himself and his teammates out of trouble. So there's still no score after 2.5 from Fulton County Stadium. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Coach for the Atlanta Braves, Roy Matika. He's got quite a Canadian connection, you know, Ken. He was in the St. Louis organization, and they sent him up to play for the Winnipeg Gold Eyes in 1960 and 61. And he played on a team with Johnny Lewis, who's now the batting instructor for the Cardinals, Del Maxville, who's the general manager in the Cardinal organization. He said he remembers what a great city it was, what a great sports city it was. They had terrific attendance. In fact, they won the old Northern League Championship in 1960, and they had teams like Minot, North Dakota, and Grand Forks, and St. Cloud, Minnesota in that league. But his most vivid recollection is of breaking training in Florida in April and heading for Winnipeg, where there was still snow on the ground when the Northern League season started. But he remembers fondly a couple of years with the Winnipeg Gold Eyes. It's the Braves and the Expos at Fulton County Stadium here. No scores. We go to the bottom of the third. Yeah. It's not the ground screw.
Looks like they're trying to plug a leak of some kind.
Other than that, they're building a sandcastle. Jeff Treadway leading off, bottom of the third.
Speaking of Roy Matika and how cold it was in Winnipeg, I wonder if he ever was on that coldest corner in Canada, Portage in Maine. Is that it? In Winnipeg?
That's the one. Windy.
Windy?
Yeah, it is windy. And in the middle of the winter, it's cold.
The coldest corner in Canada. Wondered it thawed out by the time this baseball season had started. Nice play by Langston.
Treadway's gone. The Labatt player of the game tonight for the Atlanta Braves receives something new under the sun. Canon's new Prima Shot, the world's first automatic camera with detachable infrared remote control. Compact, packed with the latest technology and the remarkable removable remote control. Now it's pitcher to pitcher again. Tom Glavine has done one better than Mark Langston this season. He has 7 hits, although he's been around for more at-bats than Langston, so his average is a little lower. But a good athlete, swings the bat fairly well. Counts 1-1.
3 RBIs for Glavine this year. Seems to know what he's doing with the bat. Fouls this one off. In fact, the Braves have a couple of pitchers, pretty good hitters. Derek Lilliquist was a former home run hitter in college and swinging the bat pretty well here for the Atlanta Braves. Lilliquist at 188.
Hit hard on the ground. Garcia comes up with it and throws the Braves pitcher out for the second out of the Braves' third.
That might be the last slow curveball that Glavine sees tonight. He hit that one pretty good. Garcia stayed with it. Another young left-hander in the Braves starting rotation. Derek Lilliquist will be going on Wednesday night against the Expos.
The starting staff is 22-year-old John Smoltz, 23-year-old Derek Lilliquist, 27-year-old Marty Clary, and 23-year-old Tom Glavine pitching tonight. 3 rookies, 3 23-year-olds, a 22-year-old, and a 27-year-old. That's pretty young. And today, they add another 24-year-old to their staff, Sergio Valdez, although he'll work out of the bullpen.
The Kitty Corps.
So they seem to be moving in the right direction in terms of their pitching staff. Still some work to do amongst the position players. 2-0 to Jeff Blauser. Popped up, foul territory. Galarraga settling underneath. And a 1-2-3 inning for Mark Langston. He had one of those in the first. He gave up a hit in the second. But that's it for the Braves tonight. But still no score. Just 8 pitches for Langston to get out of the 3rd inning. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. The Expos have threatened. They've left 3 aboard, but haven't been able to score against Tom Glavine. The Braves have been able to get just 1 hit against Mark Langston. Hubie Brooks, Tim Wallach, and Damo Garcia up against Glavine to lead off the 4th inning for the Expos.
For sale, 4 grandchildren. Oh boy.
Hubie Brooks grounded out to 3rd in the 2nd. Swings hard and misses and is behind Tom Glavine 0-2. Hubie's hit in 8 of his last 10 games. A .305 average during that span. So project Hubie's average as he goes a ball and 2 strikes. And his numbers over the full season, now that he's at the halfway point, he would be looking at 70 runs batted in, just 10 home runs. Be the lowest in 3 years, the lowest home run total in 6, lowest RBI total in 3. Fly ball to right. And Brooks is gone. But you made an interesting point earlier when you talk about the Expos being in first without any of their offensive players having an all-star type season. If they pick it up in the second half with the pitching staff continuing to do what it's done, and the Expos are in the driver's seat, aren't they?
Kind of figure that some players are second-half ball players. I always thought of myself as a second-half player, that somebody came on and really did well when the other players or pitchers more or less were getting a little tired and start to really zero in and still really going after your goals. You kind of look at where you are at the halfway point and say, "What? I have to get it going this second half," and just turn it off. And you can get a whole ball club doing something like that. That's when you really turn it on. And Dale Murphy is somebody who's had some good years in the past, and he's going to have to get it going to put his typical numbers up on the scoreboard at the end of the year.
Didn't have a particularly good season last year, and not having one this year. Here's a ground ball, and the shortstop Andres Thomas comes up with it, throws out Damo Garcia. 7 pitches in a 1-2-3 inning for Tom Glavine. The lefties are looking good tonight. No score after 3.5 from Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Zeros in the score column here. Montreal and Atlanta, the first game of a 3-game series. In Atlanta, it rained most of the day. In fact, there was a downpour at 6 o'clock that canceled the Expos batting practice. But it's clearing off, and it's a fine evening for baseball, even though the field may not be in top-notch shape. The launching pad, they used to call this, although it's really not been the launching pad for a couple of years. The Braves haven't had a team conducive to hitting a lot of home runs other than Dale Murphy.
Well, last year was the first time that the Braves have never hit 100 home runs at home since they came to Atlanta. So that goes to show you there has been a power shortage. The offensive production has not been what it has been in the past. But when you're talking about hitters like Hank Aaron and Rico Carty and Orlando Cepeda and Earl Williams and Darrell Evans and Davey Johnson, they don't have that type of team anymore. Players capable of hitting 40 home runs a pop.
It wasn't unusual to have 200 home runs hit in a season in this ballpark. You saw the graphic of the Montreal Expos, their next home games. It's a long time. They've got a long road trip on to Houston and then the All-Star break. And the Expos go on to Cincinnati before they head home. The Expos wondering which of them will be going to the All-Star game. They know that Buck Rogers is going. The Braves are wondering who will go from Atlanta. At least one player has to go, and maybe it'll be Lonnie Smith, who's at the plate now.
Lonnie Smith, a picture of determination. He's a veteran ball player, went down to winter ball last year in Puerto Rico, led the league with a .366 batting average and stolen bases, was invited to camp by the Braves. That was impressive in spring training and continued it on into the season.
Has to be the comeback story of the year.
I would think so. Just about out of baseball. Released by the Kansas City Royals. The Braves signed him as a free agent.
Fouled away. 2-2. He called every team except the Dodgers that he didn't want to go and play at home again. But he came up with a job in the Atlanta organization.
Said the number of teams wouldn't even talk to his agent. He had to do the calling himself to try and land a job in Major League Baseball.
And this is a man who in 1982 was a runner-up to Dale Murphy in MVP balloting. Hits it hard down the left field line and foul.
Lonnie had drug problems in the past. And maybe that's what soured a few teams on signing him. But he's been a model citizen with the Braves and been a valuable pickup by Atlanta.
Count is full. Langston to Lonnie Smith. Fights it off. Fouled that pitch away. So even though he's not batting officially in the leadoff spot, he's leading off here in the fourth. Lonnie Smith leading the league in on-base percentage, trying to work his way aboard here against Mark Langston, who's only given up one hit so far. Woo. Langston lost him in a close pitch. First walk surrendered by Mark.
You said it was close. Langston thought he had the call strike, and Lonnie Smith kind of hesitated before he went to first base. Appeared that pitch just missed the outside corner. Now that's a veteran hitter that knows the strike zone. Or either a veteran hitter or caught a break, one or the other.
Maybe a little bit of both. That's the 37th walk of the season for Lonnie Smith. Part of the reason, other than his hitting, that he's got a great on-base percentage. He's taken some walks. Here's the shortstop, Andres Thomas, who flied out to right field in the first.
Lonnie Smith with 13 steals, and you're speaking of Lonnie Smith's ability to walk. Andres Thomas has the inability to walk. He won 138 plate appearances last year between baseline balls. So Thomas is going to swing the bat.
He's got 6 walks this season in 302 at-bats.
6 walks already.
Yeah.
He's hot. Oh, he took a pitch.
1-0. Lonnie Smith was on the DL the disabled list because of an injured right ankle. But he's off and running and swinging and fouling the pitch off is Andres Thomas. So sore ankle or not, Lonnie Smith was off and running.
He's not 100%. You can see that right ankle is heavily taped.
Counts 1-1 to Thomas.
Oh, that was close.
Smith back.
Langston with a variety of moves over the first base. There's one where he steps off the rubber and guns it over there, and another more routine move. Almost caught Lonnie Smith leaning again.
You can tell by looking at Langston what kind of evening it is. It's hot, humid. Not as hot and humid as it gets sometimes, but it's got to be 100% humidity the way it's been today.
It's still Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta. One pitch to Thomas. Langston missed. 2 balls and a strike.
You know, Jim, there has been some talk of a new stadium here in Atlanta. Now, I don't know whether it's going to be domed or not. A lot depends on what the people around here think about it. If it comes up in a referendum or a vote.
From the number of people that show up at Braves games, it doesn't appear they spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Maybe they think about it more if they had a nice air-conditioned stadium or retractable dome to come to. I don't think they'd be retractable here. They'd dome it just for the air conditioning. But I think it's a long way off.
Smith off and running. Fouled away again by Thomas.
Lonnie Smith kind of breaking it down slowly with that sore ankle, but you got to give him credit. He's trying to make it down to second base. Andres Thomas has to protect the plate with 2 strikes. Lonnie Smith looking towards third base coach Roy Matika to see if the sign is on. You can see he's limping noticeably back to first base. He runs with a bad leg better than I ever did.
Hit on the ground. Could be 2. Owen to Garcia. And that's it. Just 1. So Thomas is safe on the fielder's choice. The Expos go for the force at second. Stay tuned following the game tonight for our TSN Turning Point, brought to you this evening by Converse.
The energy wave from Converse. Cons give you the power of the wave.
No score in the ball game. The Expos and the Braves were in the bottom of the 4th inning, 1 away and a runner on first base. Thomas is there on a fielder's choice. Smith forced out at second. Shortstop to the second baseman, and here's Dale Murphy, who grounded out, swinging away 3-0 to the shortstop in the second. 2 years in a row, in 82 and 83, he was the most valuable player in the National League. Fouled away again. His numbers for the last 2 seasons have not been good, but that's only part of the reason why some clubs would be reluctant to make a trade for him. He's also carrying a pretty big price tag at $2 million a year. And if you're making $2 million, your numbers should be higher at the halfway point than 6 home runs and a .247 average. And I'm sure that no one knows that better than Dale Murphy.
Murphy still commands a lot of respect. The Expo outfield is playing pretty deep. Kind of straight away, Murphy would power all over the ballpark. Hudler, Nixon, and Brooks in the outfield, all very deep.
He hit his 5th home run, and then Dale Murphy went almost 170 at-bats before he got his 6th home run, and that came on the 24th of June. Two and one. Two balls, 2 strikes. Murphy went fishing after that pitch.
Notice how Mark Langston does not have the ball in his hand when he sets to get ready for the stretch. Now that's so the third base coach or anybody else cannot tell what the pitch might be by the way he grips the ball. He makes his grip as he's going into the glove. And he had the slider grip, I do believe.
There's the 4th strikeout for Mark Langston, his first since the 2nd inning.
Target from Santovania is low and in, and that's where he gets it. Disappearing slider.
2 away, and a runner remains at first. Those numbers from the American League and the National League, but Langston doesn't get to carry the American League numbers with him. So he's 4-2 as a member of the Montreal Expos. Baroja happy that a left-hander's pitching tonight. He has a 111 average against right-handed pitchers, 351 against lefties.
That's exactly why he's in there.
Struck out in the 2nd. Thomas has his lead, hit hard on the ground, backhanded by Spike Owen. A low throw picked up by Damo Garcia, the 2nd baseman, and the Expos have done in the Braves in the 4th. Spike Owen backhands it, goes for the 4th at 2nd. Garcia came up with it, and the Braves are gone. They didn't get a hit. They left a man, and there's still no score. Langston and Glavine locked in a pitching battle in Atlanta. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
One of the integral parts of any ball club is the trainer. It's his job to get players back on the field and playing baseball. Ronnie McClain has done a good job for the Expos over the year. The all-star trainer has been trying to get Tim Raines ready.
Tim will be back probably tomorrow, Ken. He's feeling much better. He's going to do a full workout today, and we'll determine how he feels tomorrow before the game. But we expect him to be in the lineup tomorrow. He's feeling a lot better with his quadricep pull, and he would like to play today, but we're going to give him 1 extra day.
Kind of feel that Buck Rogers wanted to give Tim Raines an extra day's rest, mainly because of the weather conditions here in Atlanta. It feels kind of slippery, might be a little treacherous in spots, and doesn't want to take a chance on having Tim Raines out for a prolonged period of time.
So he sits and watches as Hudler plays left and Hubie Brooks bats cleanup. Nelson Santovania, though, will lead off in the Expos' 5th inning. The Expos have 3 hits. They've left 3 aboard. Trying to get to Tom Glavine. Santovania hit into a double play in the 2nd inning. Right back to the pitcher Glavine. First pitch swinging, fouls it off. Tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Time in the 2nd game of this series, it's Marty Clary against Kevin Gross, and that's a game we'll show you on TSN. Wednesday, Derek Lilliquist and Dennis Martinez. In the finale of this series, the Expos get Thursday off and play the weekend in Houston.
Mark Langston relaxing between innings. Talking over with the big cat, Andres Galarraga.
It's a friendly bunch tonight and a happy bunch, aren't they?
Down in that runway, it's a lot cooler than in the dugout. The air conditioning from the clubhouse kind of runs through the tunnel.
Sort of like being down in your basement, isn't it? on a hot day.
Yeah.
So Langston's hiding out in the basement till it's time to pitch.
Kind of refreshing.
The 0-2 to Santavania. Off the end of the bat on the ground. Thomas, the shortstop, over to Perry. The two who made the errors earlier team up to get Santavania.
Andres Thomas from Boca Chica, Dominican Republic. At least he's the shortstop's not from San Pedro de Macorís.
Yeah. But like so many of them, he is from the Dominican. Spike Owen. And a long battle with Glavine in the third and grounded out to the pitcher. 0 for 1 as he's up here. Ball and a strike to Spike. No, Spike Owen was traded by the Boston Red Sox. They wanted to get Jody Reed in the lineup on a full-time basis. Interesting at the halfway point to look at what's going on there as Spike has a fine season for the Expos. Luis Rivera has been up and playing a little shortstop. He went over in the deal. Jody Reed's numbers compared to Spike Owen's. Reed hitting .268. That's better than Spike Owen's .238. Reed doesn't have a home run. Spike has 4. Spike has 9 more runs batted in, 20 more walks, and the on-base percentage difference as Owen gives the ball a ride to right field, brought in by Baroja. Reed's on-base percentage .353, Spike's .379, so Spike's is higher there.
Well, Jody Reed has actually been shifted to second base. Marty Barrett was injured a few weeks ago, and I think he underwent arthroscopic surgery on his knee, and he's out. So Luis Rivera is recalled from the minor leagues. He plays short. Jody Reed plays second.
And Spike Owen plays every day at short for the Expos and is gone now for the second out of the 5th inning. One of the 3 hits tonight off Glavine has come off the bat of Mark Langston, who's at the plate.
Yeah, I'm impressed by the way Langston swings the bat. He's taking no prisoners up there, and he makes pretty good contact. It would not surprise me if Mark Langston did not hit if he hit a home run this year. Would not surprise me at all. The way he swings the bat, he seems to be on most pitches. He could use one about right now, couldn't he?
Yeah. Not a chance on that pitch. Glavine didn't waste any time in dealing with the other pitcher in this game, Mark Langston. 1, 2, 3 inning, 2 consecutive. 1, 2, 3 innings for Glavine. Just blew it by him. So it's Langston and Glavine, lefty against lefty, and a scoreless game through 4 1/2. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
You're looking at young Brett Foley. Tom Foley's son came down on the plane yesterday with Tom. I guess that could be Tom's dad or father-in-law. Joined the game. Tommy, of course, from Miami. A chance for his relatives to come up to Atlanta to see the ball game. There's Tom. Had 4 hits in yesterday's ball game up at the Big O. One of the hitting stars for Montreal.
But a left-hander starting tonight, so Foley is on the bench. Mike Fitzgerald is into the game and is playing out in left field. Rex Hudler, who is in left field, has moved into second base because Damo Garcia has left the game with what is believed to be a pulled muscle in his left thigh. And remember, back in the last inning for the Atlanta Braves, Andres Thomas hit the ball on the ground to Spike Owen with Lonnie Smith on first, and they forced out Smith at second, but didn't even try to turn the double play, even though it looked like they might have a chance. And Garcia may, in trying to pivot, have pulled a muscle there. But he's come out of the game.
Remember, the ball clubs didn't have a chance to take infield practice or batting practice before the game. They're supposed to loosen up as much as possible. But the lack of practice before game time might have hurt Damo Garcia. But his replacement, Rex Hudler, makes a fine play to throw out Gerald Perry.
We've had a further update from Doctors Hospital. Apparently it's not his thigh as was announced in the press box. It's his back.
Well, he's injured. But Hudler's all right as he makes this play. I'm sure Ron McClain is working on it, applying ice to the...
I hope he knows where the injury is.
Oh.
Jody Davis, former Chicago Cub, traded late last season.
Ooh, this game's getting a little rough. Self-inflicted injury, Jody Davis.
32 years old from Gainesville, Georgia, driving distance from home now in Atlanta.
You kind of feel whenever you do this as a hitter, the pitcher comes right back with another low inside pitch, and you're more reluctant to swing.
Here, buddy, get the other one.
Well, Langston threw it away to the outer half of the plate. Jody kind of flexing that foot.
Counts a ball and 2 strikes.
You're going to get another one, Jody. No, 2 fastballs away. Could be the setup pitch.
2-2 the count. Nobody aboard. 1 away. Bottom of the 5th inning in a scoreless battle between Mark Langston and Tom Glavine.
There's that breaking ball. Well, you knew it was coming.
Not the A breaking ball. Ball 3, 3-2. Wonder what Mark is thinking about his first night pitching in Atlanta. This is not at all like the Kingdom. Ball 4 to Jody Davis. The second walk surrendered by Langston.
Did I say that was Brett Foley before? That was Brian Foley, the older of the 2 Foley sons. I hope Brian will forgive me for identifying him as his younger brother.
I'm sure it'll be all right.
Okay.
Second baseman Jeff Treadway. Up for the second time, grounded out to the pitcher Langston in the 3rd. Braves trying to get something going. They have just 1 hit. 2 walks have allowed men aboard, but it's been tough sledding against Mark Langston. Pittsburgh defeated Los Angeles 4-2 in an afternoon game with not many hits, only 11 between the teams. Jeff Robinson the winner. The loser Mike Morgan now 5-8. A save to Bill Landrum. Bobby Bonilla hit his 10th home run. Jeff Hamilton had his 8th for Los Angeles. Two and 1 to Jeff Treadway. Low and in, ball 3, 3-1. Langston has been getting deep into the count here tonight. He's thrown 70 pitches now. 32 of them, almost half, have been for balls.
Struggling with that breaking ball, particularly the slider, getting it over or close enough where the hitters will actually swing at it, thinking it's the fastball.
But when he struggles well. That was evidenced in his last start when he went 8 innings, gave up 12 hits, but struck out 10, walking 3 against the Mets in a 4-3 win. There's strikeout number 5. And the second out of the Braves' fifth.
No struggling on this pitch. Sharp slider. Treadway. Kind of a weak swing.
Tough pitch. Now, he hasn't been able to throw that pitch consistently, it seems, tonight, but when he's been able to get it on,
he gets that type of result.
Yeah. Glavine hits a high hopper. Wallach handles it and throws it sharply over to first in time to get the Braves pitcher, who's moving down the line very quickly. It fell into no man's land, and Wallach took over.
Langston almost got in the way on the play, but you leave it to a Gold Glover to make the play, and he certainly did.
Langston had another base runner, but that's all. He stranded him aboard. And he and Glavine are locked in a scoreless tie through 5 in Atlanta. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Now once again. All right, this mascot can dance. Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, where the rain has stayed away to allow the Expos and the Braves to play 5 full innings, a scoreless tie between Glavine and Langston. As the Expos come to the plate and send their leadoff man Otis Nixon up against Glavine at the top of the 6th inning. There's the former Expo farmhand Sergio Valdez warming up in the Atlanta bullpen. Otis Nixon tried to butt his way aboard, fouls off the pitch, and is behind 0-1.
Tommy Glavine's been tough tonight. And Mark Langston has matched zeros through 5 innings. Glavine's allowed 3 hits, Langston just 1.
Nixon pops it up. Caught by Perry, the first baseman. And there's one away.
The Expos pounding out season-high 19 hits yesterday.
They didn't need batting practice today, then.
No, they certainly didn't. Today, a different pitcher on the mound. One that has hung around.
Glavine has now retired 9 straight Montreal Expos. He's given up 3 hits, but hasn't given up one since the 3rd inning. A single to the pitcher Langston. Given up another single to Damo Garcia, who's now out of the game. Otis Nixon singled earlier. And a leadoff single in the 1st inning. You have to admire a pitcher like Tom Glavine, who really took his lumps last season when he went 7-17, the most losses in the National League. But the Braves stayed with him. He went out there every 5 days, got his turn, and he's bounced back and is having a fine season. And he's now retired 10 Montreal Expos consecutively.
Jeff Blauser started out the year as the Braves' 2nd baseman. Jeff Treadway was acquired just at the end of spring training, and Blauser moves over to 3rd. Throw is kind of low, and Perry, maybe not quite in the 3rd, comes up with it to retire Hudler.
Had all sorts of youngsters on the Braves to start the season, with Blauser at 2nd and Gant on Gant at 3rd. And that didn't work out so well.
Ron Gant last year led all 2nd basemen in home runs with 19. Switched to 3rd base. That didn't work out. He's now in the minor league. Back in A-ball. Learning center field.
All the way down in A-ball. That's a long haul from the major league.
I think he's in Spartanburg, South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Galarraga fouling the pitch off and losing the bat in the process.
Oops.
Just missed.
2-1. Glavine to Galarraga, 2 away. Expos half of the 6th inning, no score in the game. Expos trying to get their first win of the season in Atlanta. 2-2. Galarraga struck out once and hit into a fielder's choice that ended the 3rd inning. Here's the 2-2, and Galarraga stays alive, getting a piece of that Glavine pitch. Tom Glavine is looking for his first win against the Montreal Expos. He's 0-2 last season in lifetime. He had 1 appearance this year, got no decision in an Expo victory in Montreal. A ground ball to Treadway, the second baseman, over to Perry for the out. 3 up and 3 down for the 3rd consecutive inning for Tom Glavine, who's now retired 11 Expos consecutively. He and Langston are locked in a scoreless tie through 5.5 from Fulton County Stadium. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
Just to the right of Braves manager Russ Nixon is Bobby Wine, former Expos shortstop. And Bobby, you can't see it by this shot. You see him eating the sunflower seeds left-handed. Well, there's a good reason for it. His right hand is in a cast. A pitching machine that the Braves were looking at or trying out threw a wild pitch and hit Bobby in the hand and broke it. Now, there's no word if the Braves actually went out and purchased the machine or not. But Bobby Wine's going to be called lefty for a while.
Yikes. A machine gone wild. Might have thought about lugging it out to the mound for a start. Now they have pitching machines now that'll throw every kind of pitch.
Curveballs, sliders, fastballs, of course. They got to find one that throws a split finger. So that's the pitch that I feel is the reason why averages are going down, because everybody's throwing that pitch now. I guess you could say it was started by Bruce Sutter, or if you want to go back even further, Elroy Face with variations we call the forkball. And the averages have tumbled considerably. I believe starting today there were only 4 hitters in the National League hitting 300 or above in the top 10.
Jeff Blauser is the batter. That counts 2-2 from Mark Langston. Blauser is the leadoff man, bottom of the 6th inning. Up high, ball 3, 3-2 from Langston.
I can think of a couple, Will Clark and Tony Gwynn.
Well, Lonnie Smith is up there over 300. And now I guess with yesterday's at-bats has enough now to show strikeout number 6 for Langston.
Langston's slider seems to be working, and that looked like a fastball. That wasn't a slider over the outside corner. Blauser maybe looking for the slider. Yep, taking that long walk back to the dugout.
So now it is Lonnie Smith starting the night at 336, now down to 335 still. 1 of only 6 over 300. 300 over. Howard Johnson's right on 300. Mark Grace at 320. Barry Larkins, the other one, 358.
Grace had been out for a while, and he didn't have the number of at-bats to qualify.
So he's just appeared in the top 10, as is Lonnie Smith.
Certain top 10s have different number of at-bats for qualification. Seems easier to qualify here with the league stats than it does in the newspaper. Newspapers trying to save space.
You'd think in Atlanta, though, they'd find room for Lonnie Smith. They just can't believe it's true. They're Brave in the top 10. 3-1. Smith has walked.
When you start making David Letterman's top 10, then you're really starting to get notoriety. It's usually for something negative.
Or something absolutely silly. Three and two, another full count. Yes, Smith walked in the fourth. He struck out in the first. Aware of 3 World Series rings is walked for the second time. The third walk surrendered by Mark Langston. The Labatt player of the game tonight for the Montreal Expos receives a complete range of shaving products from Remington, the grooming company, including the Remington Ultimate Shaver, the shaver that shaves as close as the blade, or your money back. Just one of the precision line of grooming products for men and women.
One-out situation for the Braves. Lonnie Smith fakes an attempt at second base with Andres Thomas, a pretty good contact hitter at the plate. The Braves have an excellent opportunity to put something on manager Russ Nixon. Speed at first, contact at the plate. Not much has been happening in this game so far. And a pop-up. It's going to be a tough play. Oh.
That's scary when a player gets into the muck and running over close to the dugout like that.
Well, the bars along the dugout are padded. Galarraga gets the glove on it, but cannot hold on.
So Smith remains at first base. 1 away. 0-2 the count on Thomas. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Strike called, and Thomas is gone. Strikeout victim number 7. And Thomas is not only gone in this at-bat, but he may be gone for the night if he's not careful. Manager to the rescue.
It appeared when he was leaving the batter's box, all of a sudden somebody hit the boiling point. I don't know if it was home plate umpire Jerry Lane or Andres Thomas or what was said in passing. Now Russ Nixon cannot be arguing about the pitch because automatically he's thrown out of the game. You cannot argue balls and strikes. Now Russ is giving Jerry Lane a piece of his mind.
Oh, to be a better lip reader.
It'll be interesting to see if Andres Thomas remains in this ball game.
Okay, so he's been called out. Strolling away.
And I believe he drew a line over the outside corner. Ooh. He might have had a good reason. That pitch appeared to be a little outside.
Sure, there it is.
Jerry Lane took exception to line drawing.
Smith's on his way. Sandoval's throw. A one-hopper finds both Hudler and Owen into center field. Smith's on his way to third, and he's there safely. And Smith looks like he's favoring his sore right ankle. But some great running. Has a Brave at third base with 2 outs.
Lonnie Smith, a gamer tonight, despite the ankle, steals second base to get in scoring position, then continues on to third with a throwing error by Sandoval, trying to get rid of the ball quickly, and Hudler trying to get the tag down quickly. Can't come up with the throw, and Lonnie Smith continues on to third.
Solani has his 14th stolen base. An error to Santavania. And Dale Murphy's at the plate.
This is the first time that the Braves have had a man as far as third base. In fact, they haven't had anybody to second until now.
And one swell foot. Smith's at third. Murphy's second on the team in RBIs with 38. Thomas has 42.
This was a situation in the past where it was almost a pitch around Dale Murphy. With 2 outs and a runner in scoring position, the base open.
Fastball up and in. 2 balls and a strike. The opposition against Mark Langston is hitting just 167 with runners in scoring position since he moved over to Montreal.
Been able to reach back for a little bit extra, but now Dale Murphy's in the driver's seat with the count 3 balls and a strike.
Does he dare throw him a strike? They go at him with 2 outs.
Went to the breaking ball.
And missed a base on balls. The 4th surrendered by Langston. The Braves are at first and third with 2 away. Threatening to break this scoreless tie in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Geronimo Baroja will have a chance to drive in a run.
Baroja's been hitting .350 with runners in scoring position. 7 for 20. 7 runs batted in.
Strike 1 called to Baroja.
Langston drops the breaking ball over.
Lonnie Smith leading off third. 0-1 pitch. Fouled away out of play. So the count's 0-2 in Langston's favor as he tries to get the final out of this 6th inning. Murphy's at first. The Braves haven't had a hit in this inning. They have only 1 tonight, a single by Perry in the 2nd. The 0-2 pitch missed outside. A ball and 2 strikes. A walk to Smith, the stolen base, and an error to the catcher, Santavania, trying to catch him at second. And a walk to Murphy, and the Braves have runners at first and third. And Langston has got himself out of trouble by striking out Geronimo Baroja. So the Braves don't get a hit. They got in a couple of arguments. They left a couple of men aboard. Still, nobody's been able to come up with a run. It's the Atlanta Braves nothing, and the Montreal Expos nothing after 6. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Hasn't been much going on in the base paths in this scoreless tie. Let's look back at some of the events, though, in this game. In the first inning, Otis Nixon got one of only 3 hits off Tom Glavine, a single. He stole second and then tried to steal third. Jody Davis missed him at second, but threw down to Blauser and got Nixon at third. And so much for the Expos scoring in the first against Tom Glavine. Braves didn't even have a runner at second base until the 6th, and they didn't get a hit. Monty Smith walked, then was trying to steal second. Santavania threw the ball a one-hopper by Hudler, by Spike Owen. Lonnie Smith was up and off to third base. Murphy was walked, and Mark Langston with 2 away had runners at first and third with Geronimo Baroja at the plate. And then Langston went right after Geronimo Baroja, the right-handed batter, and struck him out for his 8th strikeout of the night. And that was it for the Braves rally in the 6th. So no score. The Expos about hit the Braves 3-1. Brooks, Wallach, and Fitzgerald due up for the Montreal Expos top of the 7th against Tom Glavine. Swinging away at the first pitch is Brooks. Back in left field to the wall, or almost. is Smith, who makes the catch, one away. Well, Andres Thomas was thrown out after his argument and line drawing with Jerry Lane, so Darrell Evans is into the game. The veteran who started his career here in Atlanta is playing at third base. And Jeff Blauser's moved over to play short. And Evans has to go to work right away. He slips as he tops the ball, and it's thrown away. Wallach is moving up to second base. An error charged against Evans. I think you'll find when we have a look at a replay that as he tried to plant and throw, he lost his footing.
Evans comes up with the ball in fine style, kind of cradles it to his chest, but set foot slip a little bit, and the throw is low and into dirt. Gerald Perry cannot come up with it, so the Expos have a runner in scoring position on a two-base error by Darrell Evans in third base.
Well, the front foot slipped ahead a little bit, but it didn't look as bad as it seemed at full speed to me. An error charged against the third baseman, the third error of the night charged against the Atlanta Braves.
Evans played mostly first base the last few years with the Detroit Tigers and DH'd and spent much time at third since he was with the Braves way back in the 70s.
The Braves have now committed 79 errors, tied for the most in the league with Pittsburgh. Came into this game ranked 11th defensively. Left-handers, an abundance of them now in the Expos bullpen, and a pair of them are warming up. Joe Hesketh on the left of your screen, Steve Fry on the right. Mike Fitzgerald batting in Damaso Garcia's spot. Sixth in the order. Langston's back in the basement cooling off.
Fitzgerald comes in with a 5-game hitting streak, 8 for his last 19. That works out to 421. He has 11 extra base hits among his last 16 hits, so he's been swinging a hot bat and for extra bases.
Interesting move tonight, isn't it, to bring Fitzgerald in with Garcia out of the game now that the Expos are down to 2 catchers.
Fitzgerald, right-hand hitter, has been swinging a hot bat, but he does have both catchers in the game. So in case he has to make a switch later on, Fitzy can move from left field.
It's not like he's losing a catcher.
Chance to get a right-handed hitter in, has been swinging a pretty good bat.
Fly ball right field. Baroja makes the catch, guns the ball in, but Wallach moves up to third base easily on the play. So Mike Fitzgerald was able to advance the runner with the long fly ball to right field, and the Expos have the go-ahead run on third base in the 7th with 2 outs. Here's the other catcher who's playing in that position, Nelson Santavena, trying to drive in the first run of the night. Top of the 7th. Santavena hits the ball to right field. It's a base hit, and the Expos lead 1-0 on a single by Nelson Santavena. So the error by Darrell Evans on the ground ball by Wallach comes back to haunt the Braves and Tom Glavine, who bailed his teammates out twice before tonight when errors were made behind him, but is unable to do it this time.
Third time proved to be a charm for the Expos as Tim Wallach comes in with the go-ahead run.
Evans is in the game.
run on a hit. And here's Spike Owen. 0-1.
Nelson Santovenia does have 2 steals this year. But when he tries to steal, it's more or less a delayed steal situation. Trying to catch somebody asleep in the Braves infield. You might look for that with Spike going up. The Expos maybe trying to get another runner into scoring position.
The RBI for Santovenia was his 11th of the season.
The way he's going about his lead at first base, it doesn't appear he's going anywhere, at least for now. He's been going back to the bag with Glavine's move. Jim Acker, former Toronto Blue Jay, warming up in the bullpen for the Braves.
Spike Owen hits the ball to left. It's hooking foul and off the wall down by the bullpen. You know, it's situations like the ones that have happened to Glavine that caused the undoing of the newest Expo. Zane Smith on occasion. He would often be pitching a great game for 6 or 7 innings, have an error made behind him, and then just completely fall apart. In fact, while pitching for the Atlanta Braves, 25% of the runs scored against him were unearned. Tonight, 3 errors behind Glavine. Been able to bear down and get the pitches he needed after 2 of them, but not in the 7th.
You keep giving the opposition more opportunities than they should have. Eventually, they're going to cash in. You find that the ball clubs that consistently lose or have poorer records do that time and time again. They make that crushing mistake, and it always seems to come late in the ball game. Well, this isn't exactly a crushing mistake, but it does give the Expos the lead.
Mark Langston may not need more than a run. Up high ball, 2-2 with 2 away to Spike Owen. Tom Glavine, an Atlanta candidate to travel to the All-Star game along with another pitcher, John Smoltz, who has 10 wins, got his 10th yesterday. An Atlanta pitcher didn't get 10 wins last season. Owen pops it up in foul territory. Parries over, and he'll watch it go a couple of rows up into the stands and hop about 15 more. He's grounded out and flied out tonight, and now is up with the count even 2-2. Spike Owen against Tom Glavine.
With 2 strikes, this would be a good time to try that delayed steal.
Spike Owen hits the ball to right field in the air. Baroja is over, makes the catch, and the Expos are gone in the 7th. But the scoreless tie has been broken thanks to an error made behind Tom Glavine. Darrell Evans' error allowed Tim Wallach to get to second. He moved to third on a sacrifice fly of sorts, a fly ball to right, and Nelson Santovenia singled home the only run of this game. Time for the 7th inning stretch from Atlanta. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
From Montreal Expo. For tomorrow again, Atlanta and the Expo, Eastern time, 7:30, and TSN.
Pretty casual sort of guy, and he just rattled that off like a pro, didn't he? The Montreal Expos and the Atlanta Braves, 7:30 Eastern time. Big holiday in the United States, Independence Day, July the 4th tomorrow. And the Expos and the Braves will play on TSN. Buck Rogers has a 1-0 lead, so he's taking no chances defensively. Otis Nixon has moved over to play left field where Mike Fitzgerald was. Rex Hudler started the day there. Coming into the game in center field is Dave Martinez. That means Mike Fitzgerald is out of the game. Nelson Santavena, the only catcher now for the Expos. So I guess there is a gamble of sorts by Buck Rogers, wanting his best defense in there, but he's down to one catcher. If this game goes on a long time, or if something would happen to Nelson Santavena, Mike Fitzgerald's out of the game.
There are Expo fans here deep in Dixie.
Langston to Gerald Perry, swinging away at the first pitch. Otis Nixon fell down, got up, made the catch. It's a quagmire out there after a day of rain.
What if Otis is wondering if they get the number of that truck that hit me?
Please replace your divot.
Kind of an ordinary looking fly ball, but Otis makes it a little exciting with slipping down, recovering, and making the catch.
One away for Jody Davis, who has struck out and walked. Off-speed pitch that's fouled into the seats, 0-1. The Braves gave up 2 Kevins late in September last season to get Jody Davis. Pitchers Kevin Kaufman and Kevin Blankenship.
Not much you can do about that pitch. Fastball right over the outside corner. Expos defensively taking no chances, guarding the lines at the corners. Wallach and Galarraga very deep. Behind Mark Langston. He went for it again.
But missed a ball and 2 strikes. Langston has walked 4. He's struck out 8. He's given up just 1 hit. Davis stays alive at a ball and 2 strikes. Trying to collect his 5th win of the season. He's thrown 99 pitches. This next one to Jody Davis will be the 100th of the night. A line drive caught by Hubie Brooks. Started in, headed back, but made the catch.
Toughest play for an outfield, a line drive directly at you. It's hard to get an angle on the ball. They go try and chase it down. Line drive off the bat of Jody Davis. Hubie a couple of false steps in, and now back. Kind of a roundabout way to get it, but he comes up with it.
Nothing to it. Hubie Brooks, there's a chance that if Tim Raines is healthy and in the lineup, Hubie would be out of the game tonight. Not playing in right. If Otis Nixon is playing center field, usually late in the games, with the Expos leading, Dave Martinez comes into right. Two away then, and Jeff Treadway's the batter. He's grounded out and struck out.
Shot at Tim Raines there. There he is. Yeah, that's gone. Yeah, high fastball right on out of here.
And I hit it out of the park. And they get paid for doing this.
I'll tell you something. He can't wait to get back in the lineup and play. That's why he's carrying the bat around and just being a general nuisance on the bench.
Langston dealt with Treadway in short order, as he did back in the 5th. A weak swing by Treadway, and he's gone in the 7th. Strikeout number 9.
More or less the same pitch, that breaking ball down and away, and Treadway get the pitching wedge.
Mean Mark Langston in the 7th. Sensing he's close to his 5th victory, he got the Atlanta Braves in order. And the Expos are up 1-0. Yeah, reason to smile. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Point in the season. The Montreal Expos are actually playing game number 82, starting their second half tonight. Let's have a look at the halfway statistics of the Atlanta Braves and the Montreal Expos. Their records are considerably different. Team batting average for Montreal is much higher. Team earned run average. Look at the Braves. The Expos a little bit deceiving in that they had some troubles early, but in the last 40 games they've been dynamite. And the position, a considerable difference between the Montreal Expos and the Atlanta Braves.
The little things concerning the offense as far as the Braves and the Expos concerned, you can start with on-base percentage. Expos second in the league. Well, they've moved up to first, so the Expos first in the league, the Braves are last. The more runners you put on base, the more chance you have to score. The Expos with a speed-type ball club. Advanced runners first to third very readily on hits. Second to home on hits. Stretch singles into doubles, leading the league in doubles. All adds up to victories.
That's what Mark Langston's looking for tonight, hoping to help his cause as he's up against Tom Glavine to lead things off in the 8th inning. Langston has one of just 4 hits the Expos have off Tom Glavine tonight. Ground ball, backhanded by Evans. Long throw this time. He makes it all right. 1 away. You talked about the little things, and there's another little thing done by the Expos that hasn't been a 1-0 lead tonight. They took advantage of the error, getting the man at second base as Evans makes this play. Long throw from third.
How soon they forget. Back in the early 70s when Darrell Evans was playing third base here and hitting all these home runs.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, he hit 41 home runs back in 1973, and if he had made an error earlier in the ball game, they wouldn't boo him like they did before, because he always had a chance to come up and go deep.
Hit one out.
A little different now in this stage of his career. But as you're right, the Expos took advantage of that error.
Well, they did, and the little thing being, Mike Fitzgerald hits the fly ball deep to right field. Tim Wallach advanced to third, and Santovenia scored him on a single. Nixon bunts it. Evans is in after it. Otis Nixon perhaps taking advantage of Darrell Evans into the game at third base, and he's got an infield hit.
Well, as I said before, Darrell Evans played mostly first base for the Detroit Tigers the last few years, very rarely at third. And the time he didn't play first base, he was DHing, and Otis Nixon taking advantage. Evans over 40 years old now. Those plays don't come quite as easily as they did one time.
Maybe instead of tagging all the blame for not only that, but the run that the Expos got on Darrell Evans, the fans would be wise to remember that the shortstop got himself thrown out of the ball game, and that forced Darrell Evans into it. Fly ball to center field, and Murphy made a catch and ran into the wall. And Nixon's back to first base. A fine defensive play by Dale Murphy in center.
Murphy tracking back near the 402 sign in center field, and long arms come into play. Nice play by Murphy in center. Watch the wall give way. That's what happens when you get hit by 220 pounds of Dale Murphy. Standing ovation for Murphy. And he might not be playing center field that much longer if Odemy McDowell gets into the lineup, and you know he will.
Well, with a right-hander going tomorrow, we'll see Odemy McDowell start and most probably lead off tomorrow night against Kevin Gross. Andres Galarraga 0 for tonight. Runner at first base. Expos now have 5 hits. Otis has a stolen base tonight and has been caught for the 7th time. Thrown out at third in the first by Jody Davis. The combination of Davis, Bruce Benedict primarily, and Johnny Russell, who's a third catcher here, have thrown out 39% of those trying to steal. A good percentage for the Atlanta catchers. The Expos are successful 66% of the time they try and steal and lead the league in stolen bases.
Interesting situation here for Otis Nixon. He has to make a choice. Does he stay at first base, let Andres Galarraga have his at-bat, nice and calm and cool and collected, or does he just try and get down to second, maybe distract Galarraga a bit at the plate? Glavine must think that Otis has second base on his mind.
But at this point in a 1-0 game, does he think about the batter and distraction or the insurance run that's needed?
He indeed goes to second. You might see him wait till Galarraga gets 2 strikes.
Right now, Galarraga just wants a pitch.
6 times in a row, Glavine has thrown over to first base.
Nixon's on his way. Jody Davis had wind of it. It hit Nixon. He started to go for third, and he puts on the brakes and wisely gets back to second. Stolen base 25 for Otis Nixon, and Davis knew he was going. He was standing up waiting for that pitch and ready to throw it. Nixon beat him.
So Otis Nixon made his choice. I'm going to second base. Galarraga can wait. Throw is to the first base side of second, and it looked like it hit Otis in the face. Now he has that flap over the helmet. He doesn't seem any worse for wear, but now for the Expos, he's in scoring position.
The Expos leading 1-0, top of the 8th inning, looking for some insurance against a game Tom Glavine. Otis Nixon has 2 stolen bases and a pair of hits tonight.
Left shoulder.
That's where it hit him.
Just below the helmet.
Jody Davis was ready for it, maybe just hurrying the throw because it was Otis Nixon, and he knew he'd have to get it away in a hurry. 1-0 to Galarraga, ball 2, 2-0. So now the Montreal Expos RBI leader has a chance to drive in his 48th of the season. And Glavine has fallen behind him, perhaps distracted by Otis Nixon. High fly ball way up in the air and way back in left, and this ball's out of the park. A home run for Andres Galarraga, 3-0 Montreal. Home run number 13 for the big cat, Andres Galarraga, and Mark Langston has the insurance he wants. He's up 3-0.
Previous at-bats, Galarraga had been jammed on fastballs inside. This time he hit it like he called for it, looking for the inside pitch. That's a home run hitter's trot, folks. He knows it is gone. That's what happens when you've hit him that well in the past.
It's obviously fun to be in first place and up 3-0.
It's fun to hit home runs, too.
Yeah. That's a heartbreaker for Tom Glavine, who has pitched a heck of a game here tonight. He hasn't had solid defense behind him, and he finally gave in under the pressure of the Expos. But Brave fans might want to tag this right on their shortstop, Andres Thomas, who got himself thrown out of the game, forcing Russ Nixon to go to Darrell Evans to third base. He didn't have anybody else on the bench to put in that position. Evans makes an error that costs him 1 run, and then Otis Nixon bunted the ball right at him, and he couldn't handle that.
Hubie Brooks in the past has handled Glavine very well. 0 for 3 tonight, but he came in 7 for 11 against Glavine.
A convenient average.
Been eating him right up. Worked out to 636.
Two and two pitch to Hubie Brooks.
Well, the way Galarraga dropped the bat and started his trot, he knows he cannot hit a ball that hard and have it stay in the ballpark. It's just almost physically impossible.
A 2-out, 2-run home run. The Expos lead 3-0. Galarraga has 49 runs batted in on the season now, 13 home runs. Explaining the process for Otis Nixon, who would like just a couple of those to rub off. They'll come his way very often. The strikeout was number 4 for Tom Glavine, but the damage is done for the Expos. 2 hits, one of them the longest of the night. A 2-run home run for Andres Galarraga, and the Expos and Mark Langston have a 3-run cushion in the middle of the 8th. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. All-Star game is coming up next week in Anaheim, and Ken and I put our thinking caps on today and came up with the people we think should be at the various positions in the All-Star game. Is there any doubt about first base? Will Clark, San Francisco. No question there.
Ooh.
Well, we differ.
Yeah, I'd like Robbie Thompson had him a good extra base hit year.
I think Bill Doran defensively and with his RBI total has had a splendid year, but I don't argue that Thompson's having a great season. No question about the shortstop, Barry Larkin of Cincinnati. You like Howard Johnson?
Got to go with those 20, 21 home runs, whatever Howard said. He's up there among hitting 300 RBI leaders.
I give you that his numbers are much better than Wallach's, but I haven't seen Wallach ever play third base the way he has this season, so I'll give it to him defensively. In the outfield, Kevin Mitchell has to be there. So does Tony Gwynn. And the third spot, Von Hayes of Philadelphia for you, and I give it to Paul O'Neill of Cincinnati.
We'll be back with more on the All-Stars in a minute.
For there's a game on here in Atlanta, and O.B. McDowell, the new member of the Atlanta Braves. They made a couple of deals yesterday, one with the Expos, one with Cleveland. Deion James went to the Indians for O.B. McDowell, who's had his best seasons in the majors with Texas. But he's now a member of the Braves. And it's lefty against lefty as he pinch hits for Tom Glavine. McDowell's 26 years old. His best season was 18 home runs, 49 runs batted in, and 33 stolen bases in '86 with the Texas Rangers. Was not able to improve upon them. And was struggling in Cleveland, needed a change of scenery, and has got it.
Maybe he'll find the National League a little more to his liking. McDowell, a speed-type player. Maybe he got caught up in that American League game of trying to hit home runs. He'll find that the speed might be more to his liking. Deion James going to the Cleveland Indians.
He'd become pretty much a part-time player here, hadn't he?
Deion had some pretty good years for the Braves. They hit over 290 one year, I believe. But McDowell, more speed, ability to steal a base. Takes strike 3 call from Mark Langston.
Double figures for Langston. Strikeout number 10. Well, there won't be an all-star appearance for McDowell this year. Back to the outfield. Paul O'Neill's having a better year than Eric Davis in Cincinnati, and well, unsung players like him don't often get to the All-Star game, and I suppose that's why I gave him the nod.
Another difference of opinion, the catcher.
That's a tough position to pick, isn't it?
It certainly was. I went with Mike Scioscia. Experience. Of course, Tony Peña's had experience, and he's having a pretty good year. So
But no great offense from any catchers in the National League.
I looked throughout all the statistics in the league. Not a catcher shows up anywhere in the offensive leader.
Mark Langston having another fine outing for the Montreal Expos and looking for his 5th win in the National League. Facing Jeff Blauser. And the count's 3-0. Now, we didn't name pitchers to this starting team, but who do you think should be the starting pitcher?
I went with Mike Scott. 13 wins, 4 losses. Up there among the league leaders in strikeouts, and that as tough as they come.
I don't disagree with that. I gave my nod to Rick Russell. They'll both be there. Base on balls surrendered by Langston, number 5. So it's sort of another different night we've seen from Langston. We've seen overpowering nights. We've seen him struggle some nights. Tonight, he's walked 5, but he's also struck out 10, but he's only given up 1 hit. His last outing, he struck out 10, but he gave up 12 hits and only walked 3. Up high from Langston to Lonnie Smith. The ace in the bullpen is working.
16 saves for Tim Burke. Are those all-star numbers?
Fly ball right field, but Smith didn't get all of it. Hubie Brooks did, and Smith is out. 2 away in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Darrell Evans, 407 career home runs.
When he gets 408, he'll move into 21st spot all time, ahead of the Duke Snyder.
Notice the way he hits, right on top of the plate, a dead pull hitter throughout his career. He had right field seats on his mind every at-bat.
Here's the 0-1. Up and away, ball 1, 1-1. First at bat, Andrus Thomas was batting in the 3rd spot, thrown out in the 6th inning.
I'm trying to think of where I played against Darrell in the minor leagues. And he was in Shreveport. I was in Shreveport in the Texas League that year. He was in Richmond. I was in Tidewater in the International League that next season.
Sky high pop-up caught by Andres Galarraga, and Mark Langston has done in the Braves in the 8th. Hasn't given up a hit since the 2nd and only 1 tonight. Up 3-0 after 8. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Now, top of the 9th inning from Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, Wallach, Martinez, and Santavania up against Jim Acker, who is the new pitcher on for the Atlanta Braves. Tom Glavine was pinch hit for by Odeby McDowell, and Acker is on in relief.
Former Toronto Blue Jay. Set to record a win this year, but his fine ERA is 2.88. 59 innings pitched, just 50 hits allowed by Jim Acker.
League is hitting .236 against him.
He's pitching well. He's getting a lot of ground balls. He doesn't get one here, and it's going to be a long run.
Off the base of the wall, and Tim Wallach is at second base. He's been there before, but this is the first time via the hit. He got to second on an error and scored in the 7th. He leads off the 9th with a double off Jim Acker.
$14 doubles now in Wallach's last 34 hits.
25 doubles for the season to lead the league by 2 over Pedro Guerrero of the St. Louis Cardinals. So now Dave Martinez is at the plate for the first time. If you weren't with us earlier, Damaso Garcia started at second base, had to leave with a sore back. So Rex Hudler moved into second base. Mike Fitzgerald came into the game briefly and left. Then he left for defensive purposes. Martinez came into the ball game, and this is his first at-bat. The left-handed batter against the right-handed pitcher.
Dave Martinez trying to advance Wallach at third to third. Foul ball. Hit his bat twice.
And the count's 0-1.
Gets it down, but the ball comes right back up. Dave Martinez, of course, we're trying to get the bunt down again or trying to move the runner over via the swing, trying to pull the ball to the right side.
Wallach has scored the only run that Mark Langston has needed so far tonight. The Expos lead 3-0 ninth inning, and Wallach's at second in scoring position again. Hard cut fouled off by Martinez. Tom Glavine pitched 8 strong innings tonight, gave up 3 runs on 6 hits, struck out 4 and didn't walk a man. He threw 107 pitches on the night, and on a night like this, I wonder if he feels he threw them in vain. The defense gave way behind him. It's one too many times. One of those 3 runs he gave up was unearned, and that's the only one it appears, well, so far, that Mark Langston and the Expos have needed. Acker to Martinez, and Dave Martinez is gone. The first strikeout for Jim Acker. So 1 away, and Wallach still out at second base.
Acker trying to keep the ball away from Martinez, doesn't want him to pull it. You see the ball sinking away. Picks up the strikeout.
The Expos tonight are 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. The 1 belongs to Nelson Santavena, who's up with Wallach at second. He drove him in from third. And this time hits the ball on the ground behind the runner. Blauser up with it, throws over to first to Perry. Wallach advances to third.
Wallach over at third base. Interesting note. Buck Rogers looks on, his team with a 3-run lead. Wallach has been using Kevin Gross's bats of late.
What?
Usually it's
using a pitcher's bat?
Usually it goes the other way around. Usually the pitchers use the hitter's bats, but I guess Tim Walk is taking a shine to Gross's bats, and they've been producing.
Got a pile of doubles in it.
Spike Owen will not get a chance to hit. He's going to be put on intentionally. The 21st intentional walk for Spike Owen this year. That's what happens when you're batting in front of the pitcher.
But in this case, it's not an automatic out coming to the plate because Langston can swing the bat. Kevin Gross.
Woo. Almost a wild pitch.
Kevin Gross is swinging around. He'll be the pitcher tomorrow night. Hanging on to one of his bats that's been so good to Wallach.
Langston will be hitting left-handed against right-hander Acker. Langston does have 1 hit this year left-handed.
So not only is he a fine pitcher, comes over from the American League where he didn't get a chance to bat, and he's a switch hitter.
I'm going to bat both ways.
Expos. Wallach at third. Langston at the plate. 2 away, top of the 9th inning. And the count's a ball and a strike to Mark Langston.
Langston has taken some extra batting practice from Coach Joe Sparks. The Expos try and steal a run.
And Wallach down at the plate. Gambling up 3-0. Spike Owen took off. And as soon as the throw went down to second, Wallach headed home, and he's thrown out at home plate. So the Expos don't get the 4th run.
Good time to take a chance with a pitcher to plate. You figure he won't be able to drive and run. You try and sneak one home. This play goes 2, 4, 2 to retire Wallach at home plate.
And that was a close play at home plate because it wasn't the greatest of throws from Treadway to Davis. He bounced it up. But Wallach is cut down to the plate. The Expos, though, have the luxury of a 3-0 lead and the luxury of Mark Langston on the mound. To the bottom of the 9th and the last chance for the Braves. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
For the 9th inning for the Expos, they're trying to pick up an extra run on the double steal. Jody Davis delivers to second base, and the second baseman, Treadway, cuts off the ball and bounces the throw into home plate. Good play by Davis to not only catch the ball, but tag Tim Wallach as he slides by.
I guess you can giggle when you're up 3-0.
Mark Langston on the mound and working on a one-hitter. The last one-hitter that Mark Langston threw was September 24th, 1988. In fact, the only one-hitter he's thrown, he's never thrown a no-hitter, was at Texas. So if he can complete this one-hitter tonight, that'll mean his last two one-hitters he's thrown have been with a team with Odembe McDowell on it.
Yeah. Second place Mets in Houston, trailing 1-0, 5th inning. Dale Murphy leading off. Philadelphia has defeated Cincinnati 2-1. The Reds are having a tough time. Boston tried to sweep at the Sky Dome. The Jays prevented that tonight.
You can tell when a pitcher's getting a little bit tired as pitches start to sail high out of the strike zone. Brewers with a 3-run lead over the Yankees in the 9th. Cleveland and Chicago by 2. That game also in the 9th inning.
How about those Orioles?
I think Mickey Tettleton is homered in that ball game. That's number 20.
Foul pop-up. Galarraga's been over there before without success, but this time he stays on his feet. Cubs have a night off. The Expos came into this game with a 2-game lead over the Mets. If they can win and Houston wins, the Expos would have a 3-game lead for the first time this late in the season since 1983. And they'd be a little closer to getting into that All-Star break with the lead in the East. But still, a bit to go here, a couple more against the Braves and 3 against Houston before that happens. And Houston's a very good ball team. Never know it from what happened yesterday, but they did win a couple in Montreal. Counts full, 3-2 to Murphy. Ground ball, diving for it, and Helmer can't come up with it. There's the second hit off Langston. And the Braves have the leadoff man aboard in the ninth.
Well, you can dispel that one-hit theory with Oda B. McDowell on the ball club. It's now 2 hits for the Braves tonight. Langston pitching himself in a situation where 3-2 count, just tries to get the ball in the middle of the plate as hard as he can, and Murphy singles back through the middle.
That single got Tim Burke up in the bullpen again. Langston to Geronimo Baroja. He struck him out twice. Baroja grounded into a fielder's choice in his other at-bat.
It's only the second time in the ballgame that the Braves have had the leadoff man on. Go back to the 4th inning when Lonnie Smith walked.
Fouled away 1-1. Langston is looking for his second complete game. His first came against St. Louis. A 4-hitter and a shutout. Two balls and a strike to Baroja. High fly ball to center field. Dave Martinez makes the catch. Murphy's back to first. There's one away.
The one thing that happens with strikeout pitchers, they have a tendency to throw an awful lot of pitches during a ball game. Langston now with 129 pitches. And you figure with the 10 strikeouts, it's at least 30 pitches right there.
What do you think's harder on a pitcher? The fastball, guy that throws hard like Langston, or a guy that throws maybe fewer pitches but a lot of junk? Fly ball center field again.
I think it's a lot harder to throw hard, strike out a lot of people, throw a lot of pitches. The guy throwing junk has a tendency to expel a lot less energy during the game. He has players popping up and grounding out on the first pitch, and sometimes you wonder, do you want to pitch again tomorrow?
I was thinking in terms of the curveball maybe being a harder pitch on your arm. A slider's no piece of cake.
No, a slider is probably the toughest pitch on any pitcher's arm.
And Langston's thrown a lot of those and a lot of effective ones tonight. And he's 1 out away from a complete game victory over the Atlanta Braves, trying to get Jody Davis. And he's been able to do it before. He struck him out, got him to hit fly ball to right, and walked him once. Average fell a little lower. Started at 164. 1-1. We'll be back here tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern Time. Kevin Gross against Marty Clary. The second game of this series, the July 4th holiday here.
Nice low curveball.
And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Langston's 1 strike away. Has 10 strikeouts tonight. His career high in that department is 16 against Toronto when he was with Seattle. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Langston to Davis, the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball. Spike Owen waits for it, takes the force at second, and that's the ball game. The Expos have defeated the Atlanta Braves 3-0 on a complete game 2-hit shutout from Mark Langston. Second complete game for Langston and his second shutout since joining the Montreal Expos from Seattle. A great pitching battle for most of the night. The Expos took advantage of some miscues by the Braves and defeated Atlanta 3-0 in the first game of a 3-game series. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Watching Montreal Expo Baseball on TSN with the Atlanta Braves against the Montreal Expos live from Atlanta. TSN Expos Baseball has been brought to you by Labatt's Blue, the clean, true taste of Canada, and by Esso, retailers and agents across Canada going that extra mile. Expos Baseball is a presentation of the Sports Network. It's protected by copyright. Any use of this broadcast without permission is prohibited. The final score from Fulton County Stadium, the Expos 3 and the Braves nothing. The winning pitcher, Mark Langston, with a complete game two-hitter, now 5-2. The loser, Tom Glavine, now 8-5. The Labatt player of the game for the Montreal Expos is, of course, left-hander Mark Langston with his second complete game with the Expos and his second shutout. Mark will receive a complete range of shaving products from Remington. For the Atlanta Braves tonight, the player of the game is Tom Glavine, who pitched 8 strong innings in a losing effort against the Expos. He'll receive Cannon's new Prima shot. All members of the Expo pitching staff receive an assortment of gifts presented by Mark's Work Warehouse, Canada's #1 store for Levi's. And from the makers of Absorbing Jr., the relief specialists. Our next Expo telecast on TSN will be tomorrow night, the July 4th holiday in America, a 7:30 Eastern start, with the Braves playing host to the Expos once again. The next Blue Jay telecast on TSN will be Thursday, July the 6th at 7:30 Eastern, when Toronto will play host to the Baltimore Orioles. Stay tuned now for Extra Innings, our post-game phone-in show with the newest member of the Montreal Expos, pitcher Zane Smith. You can call Zane Collect at 416-445-1811. We'll be back with your calls and Extra Innings in just a moment.